Okay, so this session is being recorded. We'll start with Bitcoin. Now, I'll start with 12 hours and then look into different time frame. We'll go through all the coins, and also we'll extend this call to take your questions, like pulse call, where you can ask any question. In fact, you can ask, there's no limit in terms of number of coins. You can ask as many as possible, but we'll do in sequence. So not one person will ask for all the coins, but we'll go in sequence, round robin sequence, right? So I will do that. I'll spend enough time until your query is resolved each, right? So I'll address all the questions eventually. Now, so I think there is a this particular fall. There are two things. One is, if you see my Bitcoin daily update, when it hit this one, I mentioned that this is not enough, and I highlighted that there is something indicated the weakness. In other words, but to be honest, I didn't expect this kind of a deeper fall, and that's why I said there are two elements to this. One is the height was not good and the behavior was strange. It stopped where it was not supposed to stop, but I mean, it was a resistance. This was a resistance. This is not a random level. This was a resistance even from trend line point of view, and also from my own calculation point of view. If you refer Bitcoin daily, this was a resistance, and I mentioned that you will be surprised why I'm saying that. Also on the charts channel, I mentioned that why I'm holding freezing the coins for new entry, and I said I'll decide later which all need to be unfreeze. And so because the level from the Bitcoin price level was not high enough, which will allow me to say now everything is good. However, so I'll come to the second part. However, I didn't expect this to go this deep and this this deep and so quickly. I was expecting correction, but not as deep and as quickly as this. And this is because COVID news, and not just crypto, but across all the asset classes, across the globe, across the market, all the asset have gone down. All the assets have gone down. So there's nothing we can do about it. This fall was so quick, not easy to handle, and not easy to handle. However, I would say this is still above S3, okay, which is good news in a sense. But now what it does from now on is the key. Because when there is bad news, there is always a reaction, sharp reaction, and then the reality comes out in terms of analysis. Like they will assess the impact, different agency will come up with their statement and all, and then government will take action, and then action will have the impact on different asset from a longer term view, and then big players will position themselves in terms of their sides and sizing as well, whether they'll downsize or change the direction. It all depends on their own risk assessment, which will be reflected on chart. We don't have to do it, and as far as technical analysis is concerned, because chart was showing weakness, and it will again show weakness if this bounce is not going to go high enough. But an opportunity channel as far as my TA is concerned, I'll be able to identify further. I mean, we'll try to be one step ahead and identify further weakness for sure. Okay, so this is 12 hour, and the what we can say, this fall has stopped at this moment. It has to break above S2. That's the minimum requirement now. Earlier minimum requirement, if you remember, I said unless it breaks above 60k, ideally 61k, it's not good enough. I would say now at least S2 is needed. I would say 57k. If 57k is needed, I'm not saying 57k is good. What I'm saying is 57k will give us some time, and if it is able to stay above 57k, then slowly it will recover. Okay, and that's how it works. If there is fall, there is going to be bounce after some time, and then we observe the bounce. If the bounce is good, we say we are good. Otherwise, we say there is further weakness or it's not good enough, and there is a probability of further breakdown. So at this moment, I would simply say that Bitcoin is not at a trend level risk, but it's an edge case. It's a borderline case, and we have to be watchful about it. And yeah, so I saw Nasdaq as well. Nasdaq bouncing at this moment just before the call. We'll have a look at that as well quickly, but there's nothing much to analyze there. It's bouncing, so we'll have to see how the global market also react if they bounce. But I think they will act in waves. So the first news came out, they triggered their trades, first reaction, and they will now work on the data, that how severe it is, and then they'll decide next. So meanwhile, I think we are going to see bounce. And you know what, next time if there is weakness, this bounce need to be used for whatever recovery we could, because if the bounce fails, it will start showing the sign of weakness. Then that's an opportunity to manage risk. So right now, if somebody is panic and selling, I think that's not the idea. That's not the right way. The right way is see the bounce and see the strength, and if we think that this bounce is losing its steam, then we can decide to act on it. Otherwise, I don't think this is not time to short, and this is not time to reduce long. Not, I mean, personally speaking, again, to remain in my scope, I cannot go into consulting, but I would not sell here. I would not go short here. If I had to go short, I would have gone when it was melting. So people do some mistakes. When they see a big fall like this, they get panic and they start selling. I would not sell here. So if I had to reduce, I would have reduced here when I was indicating weakness, but I would not reduce here. This is not the right level. We are going to watch the bounce, and if the bounce height is not good enough and if it starts falling, that's where I would reduce if I had to, right? And if you remember my previous sessions, I have been saying that each support, you treat this, each support, no matter what you're doing, like no matter what features you are doing, feature you're having, it doesn't matter. This analysis is for everything, and it's about risk management. So each support to be taken as a point of risk management, right? And I've been saying that if it comes down to lower level, there's not enough time to say, because you would have lost a lot by that time, right? And if you refer it, I said even if you could reduce 5%, 10%, it will help you, because if you not as part of the best practice, right? It's not that the market is doomed, it's not that the trend is broken. So if you look at the charts channel, I summarize that the trend is not broken, but it's not black and white picture. So if the white represent all positive and black represents all negative, it doesn't switch from white to black. There are between gray scales in between. So when you are here, everything is rosy, everything is fantastic, we are up 64 66k, it's an all-time high, right? And we are talking about 100k and all. But when you see where it is not happening and it breaches the first support, then some kind of action has to be taken as part of the investment, as part of the trade. It's not and what kind of action you take, as I said earlier, it can be reduction, or it can be reduction at a lower level, whatever you decide, and the reduction can be as small as 2%, 5%, 10%. But there has to be some action as price continue going down, right? So there are two extremes. People either try to stay on the white side, that they assume nothing is going to happen, nothing is happening, everything will be fine, it will make an all-time high soon. That's one extreme. Another extreme is where people get panic, even a little bit of fall, 5-10% of drop, they sell all. And then when it bounces, they get in. They do frequent in and out, and in process of frequent in and out, they lose a lot. So these are two extremes, and these are two different mindsets. And my best practices says you go by levels, go by supports. For an example, if I change the topic a bit, if you have referred approach A, if you have not, you refer it. We follow the trend, we follow the swing trading, let's say, in that each resistance is a stepping stone where you can add position, you can add more money if you think you have money, because it's the wave is progressing. If you look at Bitcoin has hit 17 targets, 17 resistance, right? Not small number, 17. That means there were 17 and 16 entry points, right? Because our best practices says that you add when it breaks above resistance. That's the best practice, and it's not my practice, it's a common practice, but not widely. I mean, it's a general practice, but not widely used. Anyway, so the point is, the way you add more money or enter into trade above resistance, the same is applicable when the asset is under correction, where each support, because resistance and supports are no different, they are the one and the same thing. Okay, it's just the direction we call support, otherwise, because the flipping happens. So when it rises, the same support become resistance. So they are one and the same. Of course, these are minor supports, not a major one. The major one, like R16, R15, those are major one. But the point is, when it goes down, I provide more granular support, not the big one. Like when I provide resistance, I provide a big one, 30-40%. But when it comes to support, I provide shorter one comparatively. not like 30% down the current level and all, because it doesn't make sense. So S1 you saw, S2, S3, S4, and I'll keep providing S5, S6 the same way I provided R1, R2, R3, R4. I'll keep providing S1 to S3. The number will keep on rising. Okay, if it is a bear market, remember. And another fact is, bear market doesn't knock the door and say, okay, I have arrived. Okay, it doesn't happen. This is what I've been saying. End of bear market is comparatively easier because it ends with capitulation, a quick drop, huge drop, and a quick bounce. That's how it, you can observe it in March 2020 last year, how it ended. Quick drop, capitulation. Even before that, in December 2018 also a quick drop. That was a capitulation. So usually end of bear market, usually I'm using usually, bear market ends with big bang, right? But bull market doesn't end with big bang. It melts silently and then increase the volume as it progresses. So it is not going to tell you that you will always come to know that that was the top, that was the all-time high. For example, those who are in the game for long enough, if you are at 19k in December 2017, there's no way you can say this is going to be the top unless you are an expert TA. There is no fundamental going to tell you, because the fundamental never tells you about the oversold and overbought condition. So this is very important point. Fundamentals could tell you that whether the coin has a long-term life or short-term life. That at this moment, that's the only fundamental you can say, that the project is good, if the team is good, the funding is good, you can say that the coin is not going to die, right? And if the coin doesn't going to die, that means in a very long run, like 2-3 years or more, the coin will make progress. However, there are going to be bear cycle which is going to correct for 90%. So, and that bear market lasts 1 year or 2 years sometime, and the loss of value is around 90% historically speaking. Now if you are middle of that, it's so frustrating because you lose 80-90%, sometimes 99%. Some of the alts lose 99%. I'm not kidding, you can check the data, up to 99%. And some coins vanishes sometimes. So many coins, I've been in this market for 2015. So many coins do not exist, and the same thing is going to happen. So many coins will not exist going ahead as well, when the next bear market will come and so on. So the point is, coming back to the trend, it's so important that we recognize the risk management early enough. Okay, you, as I said, how much to reduce, it's up to you. My job is to make sure that we are not wrong in terms of direction. My job is to provide you updates like this and provide you different supports. But if somebody doesn't do anything purposefully, as I said, somebody remains on the white side where they think that nothing is going to happen, will recognize that, like in 2017, nobody would know that this is the top. They would recognize when it is below 10k or below 8k. Then it's too late, because you would have lost 50-60% of your portfolio by that time. So my message is I'm not saying that the the bull trend or uptrend has broken. It hasn't. However, it has some tolerance, and there are two different things. The tolerance, you cannot say 50%, 30% drop from the top is end of the trend, like, because we had a drop of 50%, right? Bitcoin, this particular drop was 50%, 55%, but we cannot say that it ended the uptrend, right? But the point is, if you don't reduce or manage your risk and keep watching, and if there is no bounce, then it's too late. So the best practices says that when you see a coin starts breaking down support one after another, it can be small amount, but there has to be some kind of action. Unless somebody is sitting on healthy profit, then there's nothing to be done. And I often say that sometimes losing profit is not a big deal, but if you're losing capital, then you must reduce your capital from the investment, no matter where you're investing. And this is not just crypto, anywhere. It's true anywhere, right? Because it's a basic risk management strategy, correct? So in summary, on Bitcoin, we are going to see higher time frame as well, but as far as risk management is concerned, this is S1, S2, S3, right? After S3, I think we have to be very serious about this one. If it goes down, and it is not going to tell that I'm going to break, we have to, but I will identify, like I identify that it's going to get weaker. And if I say weaker, then there is a probability that it is likely to go down, right? And very important that you note the required level. I used to provide those green levels. When it was here, I said it must break above S1. Remember when it dropped here, and it could not break above S1. When it came down to this S2, I said it must break above 60k, and it could not break above 60k. Now I'm saying it must break above S2 at least. If it is not able to break above S2 and stay above S2, that means we have to prepare for lower level, and the story will continue like that. There will be S4, there will be S5, and I'll keep on saying that it must break above X level, Y level, Z level, because this is the way how analysis has to be done. That you give a condition that unless you reach this level, it's like finish line. So if you are on a racing track, imagine there is no finish line. You will keep running in circle. But if there is a line, you know that this is where it ends, right? It's like that. So if I give you this is the required level, and if it achieves, that means at least that trend is over. That means it's, in this case, if it is falling, then it should not fall further if that level is maintained. And this is very important thing. So when I analyze, I provide two key data to you. One is what is the required level. Means if the required level is not achieved, and if you are trading during that time, that means you're taking certain risk. So the best practices says that when you trade during that time, you have to trade with lesser amount, so your impact is lesser. If somebody tries to leverage, or sometimes somebody is trying to be aggressive, in short, when Bitcoin is not at the required level, then you are taking risk. There are some coins which diverges sometimes. You saw some metaverse coin, so you can take those coins, right? But you have to keep Bitcoin in mind. And if you refer my last note, I mentioned that see what all coins are in line with Bitcoin. If any coin is diverging, then you don't follow Bitcoin, but you have to establish that. And it's not easy. So it's not difficult. It's so easy that if you saw what happened, I'll digress a bit. You saw what happened with Sandcoin and couple of other coins. Even now, if you look at Sand is bouncing so quickly. Maybe I'll flip it for as if nothing happened to it. It's just down by 0.25. So sometimes you have to identify that which coin is really the strongest coin, and you focus on that coin. It's like when you have a situation where when the Bitcoin is not at the required level, but there are some coins which I provide sometimes, and you can easily identify. If you have discovery, then I would highlight, and I purposefully freeze all the coins to safeguard you. especially those who are coming new, joining new, they would know that it's not that you join, you mean start buying, unless there is opportunity. So it happens that one day, today, you might not have anything, even if you join just now. It is because if the market condition is not good, it makes sense to wait for a day or two. So if and my effort is to highlight any coin that is stronger. Even during the call, I had a call in middle of the week on Wednesday, and left the recording where I highlighted all the coins with strength and all weaknesses, right? So if you refer that, you have opportunity to change your coin, right? If you think that it makes sense. So there are many sources through which I'm communicating to you and highlighting weakness and strength of different coins and providing different levels, right? If you have, I hope it is clear the way information is being shared through discovery, through alert feature, or through different sources, right? I hope that is clear, because I've been kept insisting everybody that if there is any question, do ask me, and we had many calls. So, and I'll repeat that any question, no matter how silly is, please ask me, because at least I'll be able to answer as per my understanding. Later on, you would not have any regret that, oh, I should have asked that and all that. I'm here for you, right? And let's go through all the coins and see what all coins are at what level, and I'll highlight if any coin has breached any key level. And in even my last recording, I highlighted key supports, and I believe in multiple stop losses. I hope you are. I'm not sure. I cannot push anyone to do that, because those who are not so familiar keep only one stop loss, and they will realize that it doesn't work. Okay, 3 stop losses. Even if you go for 5 stop losses, that's totally all right. It's not silly at all. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll zoom out now, and we'll go through all the coins, right? Maybe I should switch to weekly because it's important. Okay, Aave has broken below support, right? Now this is the next support. Now when I say next support, so I earlier I had mentioned that this is the midline, and it is near this the immediate level, which whatever level at that point I mentioned. And then I said this is the second defense, and then I said this is the third defense, and when it comes down to this, I said I don't care because this is too deep. So please note it down that these levels I talked about, it doesn't go to that level, not necessarily in a single day. It will keep on dragging if this is a starting of the bear market. We don't know yet, but if this is the start of the bear market, it is not going to happen or in a day or two, right? So whatever levels I'm saying, please consider it's not too late, okay? But don't try to be on extreme side, like sell all or do nothing. These are two extreme sides, right? I mean, so I'll reiterate the same thing, that you should have at least 3 levels for your risk management. But do something. You can decide what person. You can ask me question offline. I'll try to answer, right? More answers, more details. Feel free to ask me, right? Because as I said, it's very difficult to come out of the trend when you hear everywhere 100k and 200k. I mentioned that earlier, that it's very hard to come out of that trend. And on Opportunity Channel, we are not bear or bull, we don't care. we want to be relevant. This has been my statement. If it bounces, we add. If it loses, we reduce, and we do in increments. So if you follow best practices, you will not suffer. I'm telling you, you will be much in a better position no matter what market condition is. And to on record, I'll tell you, I lost when I did not know TA, and I also lost when I knew TA. I lost first time when I had no clue how things work, which is forgivable, because being an innocent of the market, let's say. But I also lost because of overconfidence. And my mistakes made me come up with all the best practices. So I have no shame in sharing that if you have made mistakes, it's not a bad thing, but repeating the mistake is a bad thing. So the difference between a good trader and a bad trader is the good trader would make a mistake and potentially all possible mistake once, but they don't repeat the mistake twice. That's the difference between a good trader and a bad trader. Okay, the bad trader doesn't learn and keep on making mistake, and a good trader is someone who would make all sort of mistakes, right, but only once. So that's my message. Okay, so if you have made mistake, don't regret, don't bash yourself, or don't disappoint it. I mean, you don't. Okay, disappointment is fine, but don't get sad. I was teaching to my son that disappointment is okay, but don't get sad. There is a difference. If some undesired outcome comes, you get disappointed. It's human nature. But sadness is not something should touch you. There is a difference between sad, because if you are in sadness, nothing good happens. It doesn't allow you to do anything good. Disappointment is just a touch of sadness. It's just a touch. It doesn't reside you. So let it touch you, but don't make it a home. So if you are disappointed, which is totally fine, but don't get sad. Just note down what went wrong. Don't repeat it again. That's it. As I said on record, I lost because I was overconfident. I leveraged, and I was reckless basically in spending money, and that taught me lesson. And I recovered. By the way, I recovered fully, and of course made money as well. But the point is, it was a costly affair, and it was a bad patch in my career. So the point is, why I came up with this platform and spent so much time, that signal channel do not work effectively. That's why I never called this as a signal channel. This platform is beyond signal channel, and where I focus on money management, risk management, portfolio management, selection of coins, looking into volatility and all. Nobody teaches this. Signal channel just give you number and they forget about it. But I put a lot of effort in all this aspect, just because number alone is not good enough. That's my own lesson, because the TA is not just about finding resistance and support. It's about risk management in general. So I was good at finding resistance, but I was not good at managing my money. It was overconfidence, as I said, and it was costly affair for me. So all those lessons made me a good trader later on. And whatever I'm sharing is my own experience. Nothing is theoretical. In fact, whatever I'm sharing, probably it's not in the book or publicly available, because some of the things are my own, and that's why it could be so unique. And sometimes it's so unique that it's hard to believe because you haven't seen it. So you will say, he's just telling. It doesn't work like that. Let me continue. So that's all right. If anyone's approach is working, fine, but if your approach is not working, please try the approach which I mentioned under approach A and B. There's a video recording, especially those who joined recently. There are some members, so refer approach A and B, and try to do something different if your own approach is not working. So if your own approach is working, enjoy it. Okay, I'm not here to impose any ideology or methodology. Anyway, so we'll continue, right? But I just wanted to convey this message that risk management is so important. All the points that I mentioned, the levels are not important but not enough. Okay, so let's continue. So look at this one. This is the next level, right? You can refer the recording later, what is the level, exact dollar number, but this particular 19th July is the next critical level, and then this one ultimate. And then who cares? That's what I am saying. So ADA, touch this one. After this, there is no major support, because after that, this is the whole cluster. So in between, you can have a logical split. I don't have any specific say, because there's no support other than this support zone. There's absolutely there's vacuum, right? But you can split it by percentage. Now algo is able to stay above last week's low, which is good, and it is still above, so it didn't lose much comparatively, which is good, right? So but last week's low is the first defense, support is the third defense, and the fourth defense, I would say, is this one, 0.95. After that, it's too deep, right? So Alice is in a good position, weekly, still weekly green, absolutely no risk. It's down by 11% like any other coin, but it is not at risk. So its immediate defense is 16.8, as you could see. And if this 10.8 is taken, then I would say it's not good, right? Still, it won't break the trend, but you don't want to wait until it breaks the trend, because if to break the trend, it has to go deeper, and you cannot risk that, because what if it doesn't return? So you, if someone just keep holding until that key level, ultimate level, and what if it doesn't return back? And then that person will regret that I should have reduced, but it's too late, right? And so that's why incremental approach wins, both for buying and selling, both. Okay, so you see this bounce from the last week's low, so that's good to see, right? And the next defense is this line, 22.7, and of course the next defense is 17. Okay, after that it's too deep. I won't continue saying that, it's boring, but yeah, only I'll just highlight 2 or 3 levels. So this at support level, so you can say it penetrated, but it's still above, week hasn't ended. So if it bounces, then you can say it was able to stay above 110, right? Because this is intra-week drop, not the week hasn't closed below this level, so technically speaking, you cannot say it has broken the support. Intra-week, so if you're tracking at a week, the intra-week penetration is not the conclusion, because you can say the low was below support, but if the close is above support, you cannot say the support is broken. Similarly, for if you're tracking on a 1-day scale, if intraday breaks your support, that is not breaking the support, technically speaking, unless it closes below support. So this is important point to be noted. Okay, so this hasn't broken the support, it is on the support, and the next level It's pretty deep, I would say. I would say this one 76, and then next one is 50. After that, it's too deep. Excess is not that bad. It's not that bad. If you look at it, it's above last week's low, and then this support is also far. Yeah, but after this support, there is vacuum, because then the next one is pretty low. So if this is gone, then I think there's nothing in between. But right now, no, that's not a problem. A block is strong. Weekly, you see the green candle. Again, it was part of overall drop, but if you look at it, it's strong. There's nothing, I don't see any weakness on a weekly scale, right? So that's good. So 0.095 is the ultimate support. After that, for this one only one, because there's not much history, but and yeah, there's nothing much in between. So 0.095, I would just give one level for this one. BNB is holding up pretty well. Weekly green, still green, right? So it's still above last week's low. So this is your first defense, then this is your second defense, and then this could be your third defense, 390. CELR came close to last week's low. So last week's low is your first defense, then 0.067, this support is your second defense, and this is the ultimate one, but this is pretty deep. Crow has touched, so Crow is above this support, so this support is your first defense, and you may use 0.54 is your second defense. After that, it's too deep. If you look at, because this is near vertical move, and there's nothing much, and yeah, it could land on this one. This is your third, but there's no price level. I can say approximately, I can say 0.42, right? Because it depends on when it lands. This is not horizontal line where I can give you. This is at angle. So I would say this is your last one. It could retest this breakout level and go up in worst case. We don't want that to happen, but if I have to highlight, I would say this is your first defense, then second, and then the yellow line is your third. So the Doge has broken below intra-week, right? It was, anyway, on Wednesday I mentioned that it has hit too many times, so pressure was building up anyway. So if you look at, there were anyway multiple touches, right? So the pressure was high, but if overall market goes up, who knows, it will, but the next level would be this, and this is the last level. After this one, it would be very bad. It could bounce a bit, and I think I mentioned earlier, then it's like it's an ascending, it's it's a triangle, right? It's going to be a descending triangle, and ugly one. If you draw the line like this, and then another line like this, then if it lands here, it could go up. Not necessarily all triangle breaks down, but you have to see, if it comes down to this areas, usually if it doesn't fill, then it could survive. But if it comes down to this and bounces and go up and then comes back in next month, then it's gone, big, in a big way, in my opinion, because then the probability of this structure to hold is very minimal, right? So I hope it doesn't reach to this level, but yeah, this is the final one. As you can see, 0.16 is the ultimate level. So this week's low, and then this 0.16 is the last one. Dot we have support level. This is your first defense, and the second is this one. At this moment, there's no major risk I see with dot. It's it hasn't made any lower, and it's not that bad. Of course, it's not something you jump in for any trade. It has to break above R13, but not bad. EGLD has been very strong. It had hit this R17, came down. So I would say R15 is the first defense. Because it moved up so much and so fast. There's nothing in between. There's vacuum. So the next level is this one, 279. 279 roughly is the next support, and then this is the last support. After that, I won't give any support. I mean, I can give, but then it's too deep, right? Does it make sense? Ethereum. So Ethereum is still above R16, so it's not that bad at this moment. So right, and the bounce was good, and we are going to monitor. So if it is able to stay above this week's low, then there's nothing to worry. So comparatively, it's in a better position compared to some other coins we saw. Yeah, but this is the immediate defense, 3885, the previous resistance R16, and 3250 is the next major one. And after that, so of course this is the one, but this is too deep. It the trend, it will not break any trend. Look at that, it's still near all-time high. Actually, this high is actually near all-time high. So trend wise, there is no risk. But yeah, if it starts melting down and starts breaking below, then got to do something, right? The file is staying. It was, it was doing well yesterday. It was doing really well yesterday, and I think that's why it's still strong. So weekly green above the support, right? It was. I'm not saying it's great, but it was shape. It was looking good yesterday before this thing happened. Really looking good, and still it's not bad comparatively speaking, looking at what happened recently. But yeah, it has to be around 70 to be safer. I think I mentioned that earlier. But this is it is showing good, positive sign. Before this fall, it was really showing positive sign. This fall is not a, you cannot blame any coin for this fall, because this is not coin specific fall. This is not even crypto specific fall. This fall is across the globe, across the asset classes, across the markets. So you nothing to blame on any coin. Okay. uh, I think this is similar to Bitcoin head and shoulder, which I mentioned for Bitcoin earlier. It will, if it continue going down, so last week's low and this support are two key levels, and this is the ultimate one. So if it is not able to break above R6, right, then we have to be careful. At this moment, this is down by 11%, but looking strong. Weekly green, nothing to worry. It's still, the body is still part of the last week's body. It's not on the lower side. So it's telling me that it's not bad as it looks, right? I should draw this from here actually. Yeah. So this is, okay, so that's FTM. FTT is near support, as you could see. It's able to stay above last week's low, and then of course this could be the level also 41. So this support at 44 and then 41. After that there's nothing. Yeah, after that there's nothing below 41. GRT is able to maintain its level. It's down just by 1.5%. So just this is pretty good, right? And above last week's low. So that's your first defense. And the second defense is your 0.62, and the last one is of course this 0.43. HNT not bad. It's staying on R6, not bad at all. And of course this previous level, consider you, it's in this case you can use R5, R4, interim resistance, all these levels as your support. Okay, you may use that. So this information is readily available. You just have to search. If you search HNT space R5 in charts, if you search with that keyword, you will get R5, R4. It's a simple search. KCS was strong before this fall, and look at that, it bounced from the support. I'm just seeing now, identical candle, both the candles are identical, right? Now if this week ends well with a good bounce, then everything will be fine. Yeah, otherwise this is simple. Now this coin has no support all the way until 14 or 15, 14 and a half, you can say. Let me say 14. There's nothing in between. So if this is taken, there's nothing in between. Yeah, maybe 15, 16. Yeah, so around 14 and 15 there is a resistance band, heavy resistance, sorry, support. But yeah, in between there's nothing. So you may have to split it, by percentage. Simple Another technique I would share is, you can, in this case, you can use this top as your support. Then you could use this top as this too. Hold on, something happened. Okay, right. So this is a simple technique. So after these two levels, you can refer it. This session is being recorded, so you can refer it. Can be. So I'll just remove it now. But this is simple technique. It will come down to that level if this is taken. KDA is holding up nicely at this moment. It's down by 10%, but this last week's low, November 8th low, is the low you track, and then this is the point of defense. Okay, and KSM looks weaker. So there's a lot of support, but the next one is 260. After that, there is no major support I see. KSM looks weaker comparatively. Yeah, Link is also, this is the next support. Link is also weak. It was weak anyway for last few days. This is 20. After that, there's nothing much. I mean, ideally you can say this one, but that's too low. LTC 166 is the support. After that, 138. Right now, it's still higher low. So there is no threat, as you see. If this is taken, then there's a big threat. But yeah, so if this week's low can be the first defense, this is the second defense, and it could still be good even if it comes down to this level in worst case scenario. But as I said, what if it doesn't come around? What if it doesn't bounce? So that's why those first defense, second defense I mentioned are important, right? Luna, as you could see, uh, not bad. So 34 is the next support, and $30 is the second support in this case. But it's not that bad comparatively. Mana is also not bad. In fact, it's nice green candle. Nothing to worry. Matic is also fine. Matic is staying above this line. Totally fine. You have this 1.28, and this is the last one, 1. So, but right now there's no threat. 1 is all right. Again, it touched the R13. You see, it touched R13 again, which is good sign. It's staying. And then, of course, last week's low, you can, and then this support. These are the three defense. So R13 is first defense, last week's low is second, and then maybe you can take 0.177 R12 as the third one, third defense. Opal, um, Opal touched R4, sorry, my bad, R2, right? So so that's your immediate defense, and of course this $4 is the last second, and the third one could be 3.15 after that. This, yeah, these are the three levels. Not bad at this moment, but yeah, it's 16% down, so this coin has higher volatility. RNDR is fine. It touched R4. It penetrated just below R4, but it's holding up nicely. One of the strongest coins. It is moving sideways for now under consolidation before this correction, because it went up a lot, 7x. It Sand is, as I mentioned, one of the strongest one. Nothing to comment about it. It's way above R6. So if it touches R6, then you have to think about any risk. There's absolutely no risk at this moment. SKL is moving sideways. There's nothing to worry on this as well. 0.27, keep in mind, that's it. So Solana is, I think R18, still it's not that bad. If it breaks below R18, then it could look for R140 level or R18 level, but it's still pretty, like this is near our previous all-time high. Not that bad. Theta is still above the support, so this is important support, and then this is 4.67 is next important. Uni, I think this is the 17.35 to be noted. After that, this last one, yeah, then this two, yeah, it's weaker. It looks weak. VET has touched this line, so it's not that bad. I mentioned in Wednesday call that it might touch this one. It's a confluence of both trend line and the support line. So if this is taken, then this is your last one. After that, this could help, but that would be too deep. VRA is in a good position, so it's down by 9%, but it's one of the strongest at this moment. Okay, so and for it, R2, last week's low is the first defense, and then 0.041 is the second. After that, of course, this one is the third one, 0.024. But yeah, so it's relatively looking strong. Okay, so that's the summary. I'll stop the recording here, right? Because we covered everything that I wanted to cover. I'll take your questions.